Hey guys, welcome back. Here is another deck profile. I guess that in Endymion got some support and I wasn't aware of it. Um, Previously, I don't think I uploaded it to my channel, but I would play an Endymion deck. Um, it was basically just like a draw deck with like tons of spell cards. Um, and I played Exodia in it and stuff too. But I feel like the Exodia really slowed down the deck because there were like 5 cards in the deck that were just dead because I wasn't really running a lot of support for them. And this deck's like way more fun. Well, I'll just get right into it. I'm running triple of the new Endymion, this Sorcerer Supreme. This guy is sort of like the old Endymion, but he's got 100 more attack points, and instead of special summoning himself from the hand or graveyard by removing 6 spell counters from the field spell, you can special summon him from the Pendulum Zone by removing 6 spell counters from, I think, anywhere. Yeah, which is really nice because it's a lot easier to summon him that way. He's like the only one of the cards that doesn't accumulate spell counters though. So, but he is like one of the better, one of the better cards. He also can negate things by a spell, trap, or monster effect, or I guess spell, trap, or card effect by returning 1 card from the field that has a spell counter on it to the hand, and he will negate that, and then he will add to his card the amount of spell counters that were on that card returned. So at least 1. And I'm running him at 3 because he's really good and you always want to see him. And he's also an 8 scale. So and then I'm running triple of the old Endymion, even though this card is still really good. Because he can recycle himself from the graveyard. He's also a normal monster, so there's public knowledge. And I'm not running it here, but he's one of the only targets for the Wonder Wand. But I'm not running it in this deck because there's not enough targets for it. But I am running triple of this because he can recycle spell cards and he does speed up the deck a lot. It's also level 7, which is nice because it has a lot of synergy with the deck. I'm running triple of the Empress. This card is also really good. She's like a recruiter kind of. She's a 2 scale. She has 2700 defense, but she's only got 1850 attack, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal because you can just summon her in defense mode, or use her for like Xyz or like link summoning. She will, you can remove spell counters, 3 spell counters from something. I can't read it really. And then special summon her and then something else from your hand, like another Endymion monster from your hand, which is nice. And then when she's special summoned, you can return 1. You can target 2 monsters on the field, or 2 cards, I guess. One of which on your side of the field has to have a spell counter on it, and then you return them both to the hand, which is actually really nice removal. And I think you add the spell counters to her. So she's pretty good. She's also a level 7, so she's got synergy in that aspect. I'm running 2 of the Magister of Endymion. This guy's the other 8 scale. He will add a spell counter when he attacks, and then you can remove like 3 to special summon both this card and a monster from the extra deck. pendulum monster from the extra deck, which is pretty good. And then I think when your opponent activates a spell card, you can put a spell counter on this card or something. I don't remember. I can't really read it because there's like a huge thing there. So, and then I'm running triple of the Servant of Endymion. This one, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card, and then special summon this card and another Endymion monster from the deck, which most of the time I'll go with the Empress, because you can just put her back in the hand and then play her back in the pendulum zone again. And then yeah, you're mostly going to want to use her for her pendulum effect because she recruits like that. These guys are also level 3, and the pendulum monsters, you can run Electrum, which is pretty nice. I'm running 2 of the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. This card's just another like normal monster that's not a pendulum in the deck. He's also a spellcaster, and he searches like other spell cards, so it's like more spell counters and more draw power. One of the glow bulbs just for some synchro plays. You can take this card out and add in something else. You can also take out the 2 synchros and add in something else for that as well. Free up 2 spaces in the extra deck. I'm running 2 of the Spellbook of Knowledge. Obviously, you run, 2 Prophecy, 2 Knowledge, 2 Secrets. That's the combo. That's the engine, basically. I'm running 2 Foolish Burial Goods just to dump the Cursed Bamboo Sword and search like a golden one or a broken one. That's really one of the only cards you're going to want to dump, unless you want to dump like the other bamboo swords when they're dead. Obviously, I'm running triple of the Golden Bamboo Sword. This card speaks for itself. If you have a Bamboo Sword equip card on the field, you can draw 2 cards. One of the Foolish Burial, like the regular Foolish Burial. I'm running this card to dump Glow Bulb and Endymion, the Master Magician, just to get them out of the deck, because they don't need to be, you don't, like, it's also another spell card for spell counters. Obviously the 2 secrets. I'm running triple of the Spell Power Control. Originally I wasn't running this card because I didn't know about it. I just thought there was like the monsters, and then the Endymion Lab. But this card lets you search any Endymion card from your deck to your hand, and then you can place spell counters on cards you control up to the number of spell power control or spell power grass cards in your graveyard. So if you have 1 of this in your graveyard, you can put a spell counter on one of your cards. Plus, because this is a spell card, you're getting another counter on each of your other spell cards as well. So it's pretty good. Because you can search like any of the cards in the deck. I'm running 2 of the Endymion Lab. I might run 3 of this card if it worked with the original Endymion. I don't know what it is, but I think it's bugged because it doesn't work with this guy. So yeah, I'm only running 2 of this. It's basically just like another card that will accumulate spell counters. And also, like, once for an after damage calculation of a spellcaster monster is destroyed by battle, you can remove 6 spell counters from your field, especially when 1 level 7 or higher spellcaster monster from your hand or deck. So that's pretty good. That's one of the main reasons why you want to run this card, is for that like recyclability, I guess, so you get some cards off if you're destroyed. I'm running 2 of the Broken Bamboo Sword and 3 of the Cursed. I was running triple of the Broken, but you don't really need to run triple of the Broken. And then, obviously, triple of the Magical Citadel of Endymion. You want to run 3 of this card. This card is your main spell counter conductor, basically, because it just sits there and it's off the field, so you don't have to worry about it clogging up your back row, because when you put up pendulums, you've only got 3 back row now. So this card's also, it's nice in that aspect. I'm running one of the Borealoid Savage Dragon, just because I am running like a bunch of Link monsters, so and all a bunch of level 7s and level 1, so you could take it out into something else, like another Link or an Xyz monster. I'm running one Arcanite Magician, just because it has to do with spell counters, and I believe you can activate its effect by taking counters off of Magical Citadel of Endymion, which is pretty nice. One of the Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This is a rank 7 deck, kind of. You can make tons of rank 7s. So I'm running one of that. One of the Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. Just because, I am running rank 7s, so you might as well just run this card as well. One of the Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, just for piercing ability. One Big Eye. You can run 2 Big Eye. You don't need to run Big Eye if you don't want to. Big Eye is just a really good card. One of the Break Sword, because there is level 3s, so I'm running some rank 3s. One of the Mecha Phantom Beasts, the blue one. This card destroys back row. Yeah. And then one Leviair. I've been thinking about taking this card out, actually, just because this deck doesn't really banish all that much, if at all. So he's not really going to get any utility. And then I'm running one Skull Dread. I don't really summon this guy very much, so I might take him out as well. One Zephyr Metaltron. He's pretty good because you're going to want to go for Electrum, and it's really easy just to pendulum summon out another pendulum monster from your extra deck, and then summon this guy, and then you just have 3 extra deck zones that you can summon monsters in, or summon pendulum monsters. Obviously I'm running one of the Electrum. I might run multiples if you could, but this card is pretty busted as it is, so it gets way too many pluses. And I'm running 2 of the Daybreaker, just because this entire deck is basically spellcasters, so I'm just running this just for a Link monster. And he also has to deal with spell counters, so and then I'm running one of the Kriston Needle Fiber. I might take this card out as well, because I don't really summon it that much, so I only have it in the deck for the global. Like, if I have another monster on the field, I know I'm summon global, but I can just go for this guy, and then I have, a Link monster with 2 arrows pointing down. And then these are just stuff I took out of the main deck. You can also run like Terraforming. That might be good. I took out the 2 Terraformings just to add in the spell power control, because this card's better than Terraforming in this deck, just because Terraforming only searches the Magical Citadel, but the spell power control will search like the entire deck. It searches all of these, all of this. It'll search the lab, and then the field spell as well. So, but you can only activate 1 per turn, which kind of sucks. And you also get more spell counters from it. But, when you activate a Terraforming, you'll get the 1 spell counter per, if you have your scales, you'll get generally 2. And then if you have this on the field, you'll get another 1, and then this. So you'll get like max 4. But if you play the spell power control, you can get like 5 or 6 or 7, depending on how many of these you have in your graveyard, which is nice. Yeah, that's the deck. It's still very early. I just started building this deck like yesterday, I think. I think it was yesterday. So I've been playing around with it, testing it and stuff. This is the build that I've liked. I really like the bamboo swords because they're fun, and I always build decks that are fun rather than being super competitive. This deck doesn't really have a lot of room for back row, because the pendulum scales. Plus, if you have lab on the field as well, you only have 2 slots, and then if you have a bamboo sword on the field, you only have 1 slot. But then again, there's not really anything else that you'd want to put in that slot. So like, a lot of these are just normal spell cards that go to the graveyard. So you don't really need it's like you're not gonna have to worry about clogging up your back row with like sets and stuff, which is nice. But that means you also have it's kind of vulnerable to like disruption. So if they disrupt your play, you're kind of screwed. That's why you want to get this guy on the field as soon as possible with some spell counters, because he negates things. He's like your main negation of the deck. Yeah. So this guy's your main negation. This guy, you want to get him on the field just to add back things and like cycle through your cards, for your draw power or deck thinning, as well as his effect to discard a spell card and target 1 card on the field and destroy it. That's pretty nice. These guys also have effects when they're destroyed on the field and you have no pendulum monster in one of your zones. You can just put that card straight into the zone. This guy also has an effect, this bigger guy, where when he's summoned, you have to destroy at least 1 card on the field, and you can destroy. So I've summoned this. I've used this chick's effect to summon this guy from the deck, and then had his effect to destroy her, so she gets put back in the pendulum zone. And now I have this guy on the field with some spell counters on him. Because depending on how many cards you destroy, you can destroy up to the number of cards you have on the field. I think that's what it is. And then when you do, you add spell counters to this card. Equal to the number of cards you destroyed. So that it can even be your cards. So if you have like a cursed bamboo sword, you can destroy it and then search for a golden one or a broken one. And then if you have one of these 2 or smaller guys in the field, and they're in like attack mode and they have a bigger monster, you can destroy them, and they'll just go right to your pendulum zones, which is nice. Because now you got them off the field, and then you also got a new pendulum scale, which gives you more options for next turn. So this is my Endymion deck. Let me know what you think. I will probably be posting another deck profile later about this deck, maybe after I've updated it, done some more testing, played around with some different cards, stuff like that. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Suggestions, I guess. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.